this film before. So no spoiler alerts, but there's something that, obviously can't be spoiled, which is the greatness of Sir Sidney Poitier. And this is the film for which he won his first Academy Award. He was the first African American to win the Best Actor Academy Award. Absolutely delighted that joining me in introducing this film is a dear, dear friend. I have known Sergio Mims for more than 20 years. He is the co-founder and co-programmer of the Black Harvest Film Festival in Chicago. I don't want to miss any of your accolades, Sergio. He's a film critic and journalist. He's the host and producer of the weekly Bad Mother film show on WHBK-FM in Chicago. He's a screenwriter and he appears every week on the Movie Madness podcast on the Now Playing Network. He is also an assistant director who has worked on films in Chicago and Los Angeles, and he's a member of the Chicago Film Critics Association. And when you hear his voice, you're going to recognize it because he has done countless commentaries on Blu-rays and DVDs for Vinegar Syndrome, Kino Lorber, and Arrow Films. Please welcome from Chicago, attending his first TCM Classic Film Festival, Sergio Mims.
Right now, I want to thank TCM for bringing me out here. The staff has been really great and wonderful, and the audiences are great. I've met some of the nicest people from around the world, around the country, for this festival. If the whole country were like the audience of TCM,
right?
We'd have a beautiful world.
I love that you said that because I have that same feeling. And I think it's totally appropriate to say that when watching this film because, of course, this is a film that was made, released at the height of the Civil Rights era. And one of the things that I appreciate about this festival is that you really do see how these films bring people together to have constructive, thoughtful, meaningful conversation about culture, including conversations about race.
Well, this is the film that made Sidney Poitier Sidney Poitier. This is the film that made him a star. It was made okay. I'm gonna do a crude plug. I did the commentary for this movie for Kino Lorber, still available. And one of the things I found out, this movie was made for under $250,000. And when I said that can't be right, and I checked, and it's true. It was made practically no money. The director, Ralph Nelson, had to mortgage his home to raise the money to make this movie. And this is the first film where Poitier basically is the lead. He's not a co-star. He carries the movie. And the reason he carries the movie is because of Sidney Poitier. He had that charisma. He had that star quality. And you'll see it in this picture. This is a movie that came in a very important period in his life, and also I think a very important period in American history.
Oh yeah, 1963, right? So this is the year of the March on Washington.
Right.
This is the year when Governor George Wallace tries to block students from entering the University of Alabama.
Right.
This is the year when 4 little girls are killed in a church in Birmingham.
Right.
So this film I think is really interesting for so many reasons, but in part because it's not the same kind of interracial relationship film that he had made in the past. It has a lot of different nuances to it.
Right, and one of the great things that I think about older movies is that it reflects attitudes, it reflects beliefs at a certain period of time. And this movie reflects the attitudes of filmmakers of what is possible in this country. This is a genuine feel-good movie, the kind of which we need more of today.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you see this picture today, you'll say to yourself, wow, this movie reflects the America we wish we had.
Mm.
The America that could be.
I think that's true. And it's not just about black and white. We also have Latino population represented in this film. Let's talk about Sidney Poitier. You mentioned his charisma. He's also a matinee idol, right? He's gorgeous. He's gorgeous. And one of the things that happened later on when the blaxploitation era was kicking off in the 70s is people looked back at Sidney Poitier's films and said he was never really like allowed to be a sexy character. He didn't have romantic relationships. And they often pointed to this film like, look, they even put him in with a group of white nuns. That's how bad it was. But there are moments in this film, some shirtless moments, where it's very clear that we are supposed to revel in the beauty of Sidney Poitier. I don't read this film as a film that's desexualizing him, which is
really the beauty of his dark skin.
That's right.
But don't forget, there is For Love of Ivy,
Yes.
and there's A Warm December. So he did make romantic movies.
Paris Blues.
Paris Blues, right? So he did make romantic films. They should be more known. But he was, let me tell you something. When he passed away, there's a podcast I appear on at least once a week. It's called Afro Nerd. It's out of New York. So anyway, and so we did this whole thing on Sidney Poitier. And of course the question came up, who's the next Sidney Poitier? And I said, that's a useless question because there's no answer to that. There's only one Sidney Poitier. He was unique. He was an icon. He can't be replaced. So it's useless to talk about who's the next one. He was the right man at the right moment, at the right place. And he had it. And he's gone now, but we have all these wonderful movies and all these wonderful performances that, will continue his legacy. We can treasure them.
Absolutely, yeah. At the Academy Museum, we've named our lobby, the Grand Lobby, after Sidney Poitier. I mean, he's a figure who continues to inspire so many actors. I think that he was like the first individual for so many mainstream Americans to even really think about the humanity of Black people. That's a huge burden to take on.
Well, this is a thing where, and I've talked about this before, where prominent Black people back in the day were fairly, unfairly, were representatives of the race. So they judge us by our actions. So he knew that. He took that burden and he carried it because he knew that everything I do represents all of us. And that's a responsibility that he showed it. And he did the best he could with that responsibility. By the way, I want to also say that, I'm not bragging.